activist who, I tell you, eats pro-choice debaters alive for breakfast, and our very own Marissa Simque, who went to ask Boy Trudeau a few questions today, which we'll see in a few moments' time. Great to have you here. By the way, this is wrong, because really it's only old white men who are pro-life, so I'm not really sure what you're doing here. You've been stalking Justin Trudeau.
Oh, don't say that.
You know, it's very important that you are asking the questions, because nobody else is asking the bloody question. You ask him whatever your views, pro-life, pro-choice, you're asking the right questions. You're the only one doing it. What happened today?
Well, that was the clip that we just saw, actually, was his response to me yesterday, which is where I asked him about restrictions on abortion. Because, let's be clear, the vast majority of Canadians actually want restrictions on abortion. Upwards of 60% are unhappy with the status quo. So today he was campaigning with Adam Vaughan and Trinity Spadina, and I asked him a few questions about this status quo he seems to want to stand by.
Okay, let's sit now.
Let's say a woman comes to you, she says she's pregnant with a girl, and she wants to terminate the life of the child because it's a girl. What would you say to her?
My position has been very clear. The Liberal Party is the party of standing up for people's rights, and the Liberal Party will always be the party of the Charter. So we will continue to stand up for people's rights and not legislate them away.
So to be clear, you wouldn't discourage her from having an abortion because it's a girl?
My role as the leader of the Liberal Party is to make sure that Canadian legislation respects people's rights, and that's what I will continue to do.
But yesterday you said you're happy with the status quo on abortion, but right now the status quo is that it's perfectly fine to abort a child because it's a girl. Do you have no problems with that?
I will leave discussions like that between a woman and the health professionals that she encounters. I don't think that government should be in the business of legislating away people's rights, and that's why the Liberal Party is steadfast in this position.
Including the rights of unborn children who happen to be female or black or brown or handicapped. This is an important point to make, that, for example, if you have the gene that indicates the likelihood of Down syndrome, your chance of being born is what, about 1 in 10, something like that?
Very low. Over 90% of children who are diagnosed with Down syndrome have their lives ended by abortion.
So there are certain victim groups, women, the handicapped, and in the developing world, and North American inner cities, people of color. Justin Trudeau thinks it's a good and charter thing to make sure these people are killed.
Yeah, you know, what confuses me every time he brings up the charter is his dad gave us the charter, but he couldn't have read it. Because if he read the charter, he would see in section 15, it says that we're all equal before the law, and we can't be discriminated against based on factors such as age, sex, for example. So in the case of killing baby girls because they're girls, that would be a section 15 charter violation. Killing the preborn because they're younger than us, that's a section 15 charter violation. So he talks about people's rights, but the charter says we have a right to life. And since the preborn have human parents, they've got to be human. So that must mean they have the right to life too.
You know what, Marissa? There is an increasing argument, and I don't know if it's true or not, that people are born gay, for example. Now, I don't want to digress onto this, but if that was ever proven, I wonder how Mr. Trudeau would react to people who aborted their unborn children only because they were gay.
Well, you know, it's really interesting because obviously he has no problem with someone choosing to abort their child for whichever reason it may be, whether you have Down syndrome, whether or not you're a girl, so on and so forth. But, you know, in the past when I've actually asked politicians this, Olivia Chow being one of them, they often try to argue that this isn't the type of thing that's happening in Canada, because it's often been the case that if you acknowledge that this is happening in Canada, then you have to open this door for debate. But on the subject of abortion, I mean, most people would acknowledge that, yes, okay, this is happening in Canada. I know firsthand experience. I've spoken to people who it's happened to. It is happening in Canada. So how do we address this particular type of situation? And, you know, quite frankly, I had no doubt that Justin Trudeau would respond this way, but he could have been a little bit more human. He could have said, okay, as a politician, you have a legal right to terminate the child for whichever reason you want, but as a father, I know that, you know, girls should be loved, and I love my baby girl.
Exactly. He could have said, it should be rare, it's never a good thing, but we have to understand. He could have obfuscated, as most politicians do. But Olivia Chow says it's not happening. We know that ultrasound technicians in some areas have been told don't give the gender of the unborn child to those parents, because they may abort.
My organization was contacted by a physician in Canada whose patient came to her 20 weeks pregnant and said, I just found out via ultrasound I have a baby girl, and I don't want a girl, I want an abortion. How do I get one? Now, thankfully, her doctor happened to be a caring, compassionate doctor who dealt gently with this patient, sought out what her underlying motivations were. And several months later, a baby girl was born. But had she been to a different doctor in this country, she could have gone and had an abortion.
It's true. In South and East Asian communities, the likelihood of your third-born child being a male is 70% versus 30% female. It is happening. There are statistics to prove it. So we know.
I want to ask you a question, because I'm not trying to be rude to Justin Trudeau. I've only met the guy once. He seemed a very nice fellow. But I just get the impression, you can disagree with people, but I get the impression he's not very bright. He doesn't... You see him listening to the questions, and I don't think it's below stage one. Gendercide, I don't believe he actually knows what you're talking about. I don't think he understands the reality.
That's the problem.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, that's the feeling I get. I mean, I've met people who support abortion and say, yeah, you're right, and I don't care. It's absolutely a woman's right. I've met other people who are pro-choice who are terribly uncomfortable with this. They really struggle with it. But I don't believe he's gone beyond the mere cosmetic answer of charter, right, charter, vote Liberal.
Well, it's really interesting because actually the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists have come out and said we need to put term limits on when you can actually obtain ultrasounds. Perhaps that would have been a better way for him to skirt this question, to circumvent actually having to answer this question directly. To the extent that he doesn't know what sex-selective abortion is, I was pretty clear about killing a child in the womb because it's a girl, but it's clear that what's more important to him is a woman's right to choose regardless of sex, regardless of whether or not this child has Down syndrome. Whichever choice, it doesn't matter. And he's clearly playing politics here. But, at a certain point, you also need to be compassionate. And that's, I think, in my opinion, where he's lacking on this particular subject.
I don't think he's committed to choice. I think he's committed to trying to take votes away from the NDP. I think this is all purely party politics.
Sure, right, but I don't think he's helping himself because he's just creating a divide. People are looking at how extreme his position. All I can say is you keep asking questions and let's hope he keeps answering those questions because he's taking his position so extreme. We were contacted by a businessman we know, and he said, my whole family has voted Liberal our entire lives, and we refuse to vote Liberal now because of what Justin has done.